Chris came to TurboTax because
I switched gears from delivering part-time.
All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Innisphere Championships Week 2 in Division A here with 228 Reapers versus the Dark Sea Corsairs. It is now 0200 o'clock here, so we will be starting the 5-minute clock here for the 228 Reapers. All right. Let's get the map strat open here. All right, and this first match will be taking place on the Caustic Valley here with Kappa Theta Gamma points. Very interesting map. Lots of areas on the outside here to sit and trade. With the unique combination of these smoke plumes that come up and obstruct people's sightlines here. So definitely a very interesting, unique map in the map pool this time. And we have Team 1 already locked here from 228 Reapers. Looks like they will be locking in here with a Bravo Charlie cap here. Looks like they seem to be wanting to press that side of the map there with a 3 and 4 line. And starting the 5 minutes on the clock here for Dark Sea Corsairs. Alright, and both teams are locked. We will be beginning. Alright, will definitely be interesting to see here what each team has brought and which type of strategy they've decided to employ. Nice, lovely yellow sulfuric map here of Caustic Valley. Looks like teams are taking a sec to load in here. But if you look at these 3 cap points here, these will be the 3 cap points under contestation today. unable, unfortunately, to see what might be happening here. Hopefully neither team has had a disconnect. Still got one not connected. Hold. Alright, looks like the teams are going to be holding here. So one of the members of 228R is unfortunately...
Coming in. Capture and hold the resource points. Stop any hostiles that get in your way.
Alright, well, while they're holding here, it's the perfect time to go overbuild. So, from Team 1 here, looks like we're going to be having Atlas RS, likely with 4 large X-Pulse, and then the 3 large X-Pulse coming out on the Wolverine here. So it looks to be a large X-Pulse strat, followed out here by some Osiris's. Got some Med X-Pulse Osiris's here, along with machine guns. Looks to be a very fast and brawly strat. Coming out here from Darksea Corsairs. Looks to be a Blackjack Arrow, Blackjack 1Xs, all fit with MXPLs, or large XPLs. And a Locust 1V here, which is also utilizing machine guns XPLs. It looks like this is going to be a very close-range, brawl-centered strategy from both teams here as they set up for Overwatch. Or, oh... Are the 1Xs not, in fact? They are, in fact, ER large lasers. I misspoke there. Those are not MXPL. So it looks like DSC is going for a range trade strat here.
Gamma.
Into the brawl strat coming out from Team 1 of 228R. Darksea Corsairs getting out a good amount of damage into a couple of the Osiris's there, not taking much damage in return yet. Getting that crucial 2 cap so far.
Theta is controlled
So
by
it looks
the
like
enemy.
228R is kind of sitting in the back end of the side of this mountain here, waiting to kind of figure out how they want to play this out. DSC looking to be very content to sit here and hold their double cap, just overwatch the sightlines with their large lasers. Wait for some intel to come in from the scouts. Fire Ant taking some fire here from the large lasers of DSC. Their Osiris is taking a lot of fire here, in the meantime trying to get in the range. Large light show going off here between Ramrod and DSC, as DSC is able to put a lot of hurt on that Atlas as it pushes in. Chicken Man taking almost equal damage. And the two teams are finally colliding. Chicken Man almost legged here. Severe damage to both legs coming out here as the lights will descend on him. Chicken Man will get legged with his right leg open now. And Chicken Man will be the first to fall here as the lights start to brawl it out. Ramrod trying to rapidly get in here and get into the fight, as it looks like here will go down here. Lermgod getting brawled down by a Seraphic Poner and the Locust. The Locust doing a lot of damage to that Javelin. Ramrod finally joining the fight now. Looks to see here. Fire Ant will go down, surrounded by DSC. Andylard looking to get legged here by Prime Mister and Seraphic Poner. Andylard quickly to follow. Darksea Corsairs overall maintaining control in the scenario here, as they will likely take down Sir Ramrod. Ramrod CTO and right torso open, Ramrod halved. Lermgod will go down, as will Ramrod, and it's down to just Merc J and his Wolverine to try and pull things back. And DSC will take that with a very clean 1-6 here, as far as deaths and kills go. overall very clean match there coming out from DSC. Maintaining those sight lines and sitting up on those ridge lines. Getting out all that crucial damage before the engagement began. And that was a lobby view cast, unfortunately there. I did miss that. We'll make sure that gets fixed for the upcoming match here. Looks like my scoreboard has not yet fully updated here. So we will quickly get the scoreboard updated for the current match. And 5 minutes are on the clock. Next map here will be Emerald Vale. Let's see here. Why won't you update? Alright, well in the meantime here, we will go back to the lobby view and pull up that map strat. Alright, so the next map here will be Emerald Vale. Emerald Vale, another map that leads to some interesting strategies here, as there is a lot of room for teams to either sit up here on the ridge lines and try and do some trade strategies on either side of the ridges, or do a more brawl or fast skirmish style strategy where they hold the center of map. We have seen in the past also teams try and hold back kind of in their spawns here, as they get a grasp of what's going on with the overall situation in the map. Will be interesting to see how the teams decide to maneuver this time. And in the meantime, let's see if we can get that scoreboard updated here. And it will indeed. Beautiful. Alright, so damages from each team here. Looking like the lights coming out as the MVPs in the last match from DSC here, with their lights doing the majority of the damage in the 2 locusts and the blackjack. Followed up then by their 2 blackjacks with the ERLs and their Atlas RS on the side of 228 Reapers here. It looks like their Wolverine 6K of Merc Jake there, which is the last man standing, pulling out most damage. Followed up by fairly middling damages from their Osiris's, and unfortunate amount of damage coming out there on the Atlas. Looking like he just unfortunately was not able to get those crucial sight lines as the lights went into the brawl, and unfortunately seemed to have gotten ground down by the ER large before they were able to get in the range. Alright, and we'll go back to the lobby here. Looks as though Team 1 is almost readied up here. And Team 1 is locked, starting the time for Team 2. With Bravo Charlie coming out there from Team 1, looks as though they may go for an Epsilon hold here. As those spawns are the spawns closer to and favoring that side of the map. Alright, and Team 2 is locked here as well, so the game will be launching. Alright. Beautiful Emerald Vale here, and we're getting ready as it sounds like the teams are going to be spawning in. Or... Oh, there we go. Alright, from Team 1 here, looks like we're going to have some Stalkers. Looks like they might be doing a ranged trade strat coming up here from 228R. Followed up by Hellspawn, Spider, and Phoenix for their Wolfpack. Interesting build coming out here from Mercjay on the Stalker, some rocket launchers. Followed up then by some more traditional long-range Stalkers. We've got Phoenix Hawks and Crusaders coming out here from DSC. Along with their Javelin coming up here on the ridgeline. And then their 2 Corsairs. Which are both ER Large and Gauss. That's a wrong button there. Some trading already happening. Yami taking a good amount of damage in those initial engagements, otherwise no damage being dealt to Darksea Corsairs.
We have gained Epsilon. Kappa is under enemy control.
Alright. Team 1 here of 228 Reapers holding the dual cap here, looking as though they're looking to kind of sit here and control the map from behind the mountain here, overwatch Theta, and keep Darksea Corsairs from moving in. That crucial double cap allowing them to kind of sit back and play passively like this. DSC, meanwhile, holding up the ridge here with their Phoenix Hawks and the Corsairs. Their Phoenix Hawks crucially fit with heavy PPCs so that they can sit back there and trade with their bigs. See here what the Crusader might be running. I would assume here that it's likely running heavy PPCs as well. And it will be running ER PPCs. The team's spreading out, kind of getting ready to receive one another, it looks. Darksea Corsairs having a nice trade line set up there on the mountains, making it very difficult if the 228R were to try and push. Yami sitting here in the flank, looking as though he's trying to gather some intel on the side here. Some of the lighter members of DSC moving in now, looking like they're going to make a play for Theta. An airstrike going out here. Looks to be a miss. A Sir Epic Poner and the 2 Corsairs will sit back here in the top. Ooh, some damage going out there as DSC seems to be peeking up, taking some return fire here without being able to deal much damage back to Darksea Corsairs. Theta has been uncapped, and DSC is now capping Theta, with DSC now being the one to control the tempo of the match. Ramron taking a lot of damage there as he Pop-Tarts in his Hellspawn. Good amount of damage also going out to Merc J. Very little damage going back out to DSC, with only Warlock Holmes taking some damage at this point. Warlock trading heavily with that Stalker there, so the Stalker takes a lot of enemy fire. GLaDOS and Nor moving into support, along with Lermgod. 3 Stalkers grouped up right now here from 228R. The light back from 228R looking as though they might be trying to make a play here. Warlock Holmes doing a very good job here of Pop-Tart and harassing the Stalkers as they sit there and try and return fire. Merc J taking an airstrike hit. Looking mightily beat up at the moment, but nothing too critical yet. Let's look at how much damage has been out to Warlock Holmes here. And Warlock will have taken a good amount of damage. His center torso armor there, quite beat up. So both teams will have UAVs up.
Resource point Theta is ours.
228R back in control of Theta now. As the two teams are playing very passive, playing to their strengths of their trade. DSC so far getting out more damage than 228R. The light pack coming from DSC looking as though they're getting ready to make some kind of push here, as they will start moving. 228R very clumped out here. Looks as though Yami no Tenchi may get caught out here. He seems to be unaware that he is about to get run down by the majority of the enemy team. And it seems as though something has been discovered here, and he will be pulling back. They will be seen on the UAV, it looks like, and he is out at safety before they can catch him. Some damage coming out here from the Corsairs into GLaDOS and Lermgod. Lermgod and the 3 Stalkers on 228R, all generally very worse for wear, while the Corsairs on the side of DSC are basically fresh. Chicken Man only having lost 10% so far. Alright, Merc J taking a lot of damage here. Looks as though Merc J may have been halved, or no, he's not quite halved. However, he is extremely beat up. Very, very close to death here. Yami taking a lot of fire as he starts to trade out here with DSC's light pack. While 228R may have the double cap here, they seem to have taken a majority more damage here than their counterparts on DSC. DSC holding the control over the map fairly well, even though they do not yet possess both points. Merc J playing very safe and passive here. The Corsairs now having dropped off the ridge from Dark Sea Corsairs. Looks as though DSC has decided now is the time, and they're preparing for their final push. Both teams playing fairly static here, as Dark Sea Corsairs waits for their Corsairs to move up and get ready for their last stand. Or I should say final push, rather, as they seem to at the moment be the ones in the lead. The timer is getting relatively close here, though, so it will be interesting to see how the cap time will play into this. However, it may not matter, as it seems Dark Sea Corsairs is saying go, 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 and they are getting ready to push in. GLaDOS taking a lot of fire here. Chicken Man and his Corsair getting burnt down very quickly. Merc J now returning to the fight. GLaDOS being the first to fall. House and Lermgod now taking a lot of damage. Looks as though House may have been legged here. Lermgod will go down. Followed by Ramrod and his Hellspawn. Yami now taking the brunt of fire coming out here from DSC. Merkjay and his last legs will very likely go down here. Prime Mister will fall. Chicken Man's trading out here with Fire Ant on the side. That Spider harassing and keeping those Corsairs, and he will take down Chicken Man. Fire Ant now moving to try and support his Stalker of Merkjay here. And Merkjay will go down. It is now down to just Fire Ant in the Spider to try and pull things back. Not looking super good here, as whatever it takes is still basically fresh there in that Corsair. As the Spider will try and fight off Sir Epic Poner and Warlock Holmes. And Fire Ant will get legged and quickly dismantled here, as DSC will take match 2.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
Very well played match from both sides. 228R looking to have just taken a bit too much damage there early on in the game, losing those crucial early trades, possibly peaking maybe just a little bit too often. And Darksea Corsairs having their 2 Corsairs, as well as their heavy PPC Phoenix Hawks ready to sit there and punish them as they popped up.
They have resource point Gamma.
And that will be the conclusion of Game 2 of Week 2, Intersphere Champions Div A. 228R versus Darksea Corsairs. Very well played match from both teams here. Five minutes going up on the clock here for... Oh, nope, actually, got to swap the teams over. Alright, teams are swapped. Will be another match here on Emerald Vale. Timer starting for Team 1. See if the stats have loaded this time here. Looks as though they might have. Let's pull up that scoreboard. There we go. Alright. So, lots of damage coming out there from those Corsairs. Chicken Man pulling out 600 damage. Followed up then with the Crusader with its 463. Corsair, whatever it takes, only pulling out 332 there. Looking to have played a little bit more passive than the rest of the Wolfpack on their team, having very similar damages coming out there. Meanwhile, it looks as though the Stalker of Merkjay, well, he took a lot of damage early on there, was able to pull off a lot of damage in return. Otherwise, very middling with the pack damages coming out from 228R, looking as if their mechs just weren't quite able to get in the range in enough time to take advantage of their weapon systems they had chosen for the match. And looks as though Team 1 will be locked here, starting the timer for Team 2. Looks as though Team 1 may be locked up here. And Team 1 will in fact lock, so we will be, or Team 2 will be locked, so we'll launch. Alright. And we are back on the beautiful Emerald Vale here. Interesting to see this time which side of the map the teams decide to choose to hold, as well as how they decide to push each other. Alright. And coming out from Darksea Corsairs here, looks like we'll have some Shadowhawk 2Ks, followed up by a Corsair 7A and a Stalker 5S.
Capture and hold the
Let's see
resource point.
real quick,
Stop
get a
any
glimpse of what some of these
hostiles
builds
getting
will
your
be
way.
here. There's Air 7A running that ER large again, 6 ERL. Got some light PPC and SERVs coming out from the Shadowhawks, and then coming out here from 228R of a Spider 5K, Crusader 6T, Grasshopper, and Warhammer 9Ds. Let's see what these mechs are running here real quick before the fighting gets started. Binaries, and it looks to be a binary deck coming out here from 228R. Very spicy deck. A little bit of a chance to see some of the new weapon systems that got added in back in August getting tried out now.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
And 228R will get that crucial Theta cap here. Neither team so far having taken either of the side caps. DSC looking to once again have set up on the ridge, getting ready to trade out from up here on this ridge. Opponent is Shadowhawk looking to go and try and get that cap gun for Darksea Corsairs.
Command confirming that we have possession of Kappa.
PPC shots flying through the air as both teams will start to try and poke out a little bit of damage here. Not quite as much damage going out early on here in the game, as both teams will now set up once again at these two rock formations on the outside of Theta and look to trade with each other as each team tries to maintain control over the center.
They've taken Epsilon.
Spider from Fire Ant will have gone and got Epsilon. Merc J taking some fire here, dropping down to 20% there with that peak. Fortunately, taking a lot of fire and getting hit through that movement there. Shadowhawk of Seraphic Poner jumping down here, looking to get ready to make some kind of push here. 228R very spread out here at the moment. Seraphic Poner looking to try and trade out some damage there onto the Warhammer or Merc J. Both teams still looking pretty content to sit up here on the ridges here. DSC doing a very good job, though, of poking out 228R before they can get in the range. 228R, unfortunately, taking a lot of fire here without quite getting to get much out. PPC Pop-Tart able to effectively hit them before they can get their blazers off in return. Stalker and Corsair spreading out here, looking to get some Overwatch coverage over a majority of the map. Looking to strike the nails if any pop up. House moving in here, their Harass Merc J and Zelk, both below 70%, having taken a lot of damage. Let's look at the paper dolls here. Side torso open on Merc J. Jory the Mech fairly beat up here on Zelk. Merc J taking a lot of damage, going red there on that percentage. Merc J will get halved here. Looks like Merc J may fall quickly here. Merc J will in fact fall. Darksea Corsairs having that UAV up above them here. Opponent taking a bit of damage in that trade. Overall, despite the cap difference here, DSC once again looking to have fairly good control of the map. Strike going out and hitting the Stalker there. The Stalker Firewall Slayer down to 61%. He is pretty beat up at this point. Looks like he has been taking a good amount of damage in those trades. Looks as though DSC is once again gathered up and getting ready to make a final push. They see those low percentages there on Zelk and Sir Ramrod, and they are ready to press the attack. Stalker Firewolf sitting back there now under 50%. Quite beat up, however, once this melee begins, that damage on him will likely not mean too much. As Chicken Man will start pushing in, taking a lot of damage here. Chicken Man possibly going to go down quickly, or the rest of his team will move up to try and cover for him, shade off some of that armor. Zelk taking a lot of fire here, both teams kind of spreading out that damage a good amount. Prime Minister will be the first to go down here in this brawl. Zelk taking a lot of fire, but Ramrod will be the first to go down, probably quickly followed by Zelk here. Chicken Man also taking a lot of damage here. Gladisaur will take down House, as Poner will then return and trade the kill back onto Glado. Lermgod looking to be halved here, as they will take down Chicken Man. However, Lermgod will quickly follow the Warhawk Holmes and Sir Epic Poner here, as Fire Ant goes for the kill on Warlock Holmes. Warlock will go down. It is now down to the 1v1 of the Spider versus the Shadowhawk here. Should Fire Ant be able to pull off this 1v1, it is possible that he could go to finish off that very, very beat up Stalker 5S up there on the hill. See if we can get some paper doll action going on here. Poner, open CT inside torso. Fire Ant, nothing quite yet open here, looking to be going very good for the Spider in this engagement. The Stalker looking to move up as they try and make it a 2v1. Poner trying to apply some pressure here, put himself on the cap point. The Spider seeming unsure where the Stalker is, seems a bit hesitant to push him here. Well, they maneuver here. Let's see if we can get an idea of what the Stalker's health bar is looking like. Stalker is legged and halved, so if Fire Ant can try and take down Poner here, it will be likely a very clean kill for him to finish off that Stalker. Poner moving back on the Theta. Fire Ant looking as though he is ready to go for it, taking some damage here. Not quite able to finish off Poner. Fire Ant's leg now open, taking a lot of fire without unfortunately being able to deal much back to Poner. Poner taking that Theta cap away here. And Fire Ant will get legged. It looks as though he may get pop-tarted to death here by Poner. Firewall Slayer moving up in that Stalker, getting ready to finish off Fire Ant with the support of Poner. Things not looking good for Fire Ant at the moment.
Resource point Theta is ours.
Poner looking as though he's going to go for the Epsilon cap. They may possibly try and go for a cap game here. Or Poner looking to go for a flank and sandwich Fire Ant in between the two enemy mechs. Opponent may pull out too early here, though. Will Fire Ant be able to finish him off? Just barely, not quite. Fire Ant is now stuck between a rock and a hard place, as DSC does now possess the double cap. And Poner will go down. Can Fire Ant 1v1 the Half Stalker? Both mechs playing it very slow here, trying not to expose to the other without being able to get some clear damage off. Firewolf slowly maneuvering around the building here. Arm on Firewolf getting taken, a lot of damage taken. So looks as though Fire Ant might be going for the leg there. Fire Ant does appear to indeed be going for that other leg. Fire Ant now, however, very beat up. It'll be interesting to see if he is in fact able to finish off the legged Firewolf. Time being on Fire Ant's side here, as he will likely be able to go for Theta if he survives. And he will take down Firewolf Slayer and be able to obtain the double cap, which will likely mean the win here for 228 Reapers.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
There we go. Very clean match coming out here from both sides. Both initially taking that control over the center of Theta before DSC pushed in and tried to brawl out the heavily damaged 228 Reapers, but was unfortunately not quite able to finish off the kill. Starting the time for Team 1. Actually, we'll hold off in just a second here. There we go, and getting that timer started. This next match will be played on Series Metal Scrapyard. And the scoreboard is updated, so let's take a look at some of those damages coming out here. From DSC here, have a lot of damage coming out there from Sir Epic Poner and that Shadowhawk, having gotten that flank off early on there on Merc J and his Warhammer. Followed up then by the Stalker of Firewolf Slayer, getting out a good amount of damage trading there, as well as the Corsair. However, it looks as though the Spider and some of the other Shadowhawks were not quite able to have the same level of impact as the rest of those mechs. Then coming out here from 228R, that Spider 5K, lifting up the world on its shoulders. That's 700 damage and 4 kills. Fire Ant looking as though he kind of picked up the world on his back and forced it with him on that last match. Then coming out here, some equal damage from the Grasshopper and Crusaders coming out on 228R, followed up by a fairly low performance coming out from the Warhammers. Turning back to the lobby now, we will pull up the map strat for the next map here, being Series Metal Scrapyard, second newest map to the game. Very interesting map, fairly open, rolling hills, with some interspersed debris and terrain there that add in a little bit of extra cover. That cover, of course, having some of the similar issues to Tourmaline Desert, where their hitboxes can be a little bit jank at times. It'll be interesting to see how teams like to play this out here. This is the one map so far that we have occasionally seen LRM strats come out. It will be interesting to see if we see any today after the most recent nerfs in the last patch. Alright, and Team 1 will be locking up here. Alright, and both teams will be locked here. And we will be beginning match 4 of 228R versus DSC for Div A. It is for Champions Season 6. Alright. The very dark and gloomy here. Series Metal Scrapyards. Very interesting and unique map here in its rolling dune style of gameplay it offers. It's a very interesting map, as though it looks as though there may be long sight lines. The cover on it can be quite deceiving. And it is quite easy to try and separate the enemy forces using the rolling dunes and cut off their sight lines. Alright, and here come the teams. Coming out from Team 1 here, the Darksea Corsairs, we have some spicy Marauder 4 HPs. Will these be Lerms, Rockets, or SRMs? They will be SRMs. And some Crabs. As well as Blazers coming out here, looking to have a very CERM Brawl-oriented deck coming out here from DSC. Followed by a similarly looking Brawl-orientated deck coming out here from 228R. However, it looks as though they have gone a little bit more heavy on the Blazers than the CERMs. House running over here, getting that side cap, getting the first cap up of the game. Followed quickly here by Fire Ant, looking as though he is going to try and get that Theta cap going. 228 IBR setting up here on the side. Getting some good damage off initially here in the Chicken Man, as their CERM mechs do try and maneuver in here.
Kappa is under enemy control.
Oh, and we are in lobby view. Let's get that fixed real quick here. DSC slowly moving in. 228 Reapers seeming to be content to sit here on the back, though it does look as though a flank or scout possibly will be trying to get pulled off here by House and the Spider. And House will get spotted here. Not taking any damage, though. 228 Reapers still mostly fresh for the most part. A lot of damage getting dealt out there. The Chicken Man early on here. Chicken Man continually taking some damage here. The Marauders from Dark Sea Corsairs slowly meandering their way in, getting ready to press. Yami looking as though he might get off some sort of flank maneuver here. Double cap does mean that time is currently favoring 228 Reapers, as it seems that Yami will spot them as they move in here. Chicken Man dropping down to 83% here, taking a lot of damage early on here in the match. Same with Warlock Holmes. Zelk dropping on 94%, taking a little bit of damage here, as whatever it takes will get nailed here as they try and push in the range. Looks as though they are trying to engage here on the Gladosaur, he will take some damage. Whatever it takes dropping down to 38%. Ramrod going down to 81. Those Serm Marauders now finally getting in the range. Ramrod getting blasted by those Serms, taking a lot of damage here, as Mr. will become the current primary of 228 Reapers. Damage going out onto Lermgod and Zelk, as House will get in the back of Lermgod there. Mr. taking a beating here. Warlock Holmes, it looks as though we'll get backshot out by Gladosaur there. Lermgod going down. Currently not looking super good for Dark Sea Corsairs, as they will currently be down 3-1. A lot of damage going out here in the Seraphic Poner and his Crab, as well as Chicken Man and his Marauder. 228 Reapers with the 2 caps seeming to be feeling fine. They just play it slow. Peek in and out of cover here as they trade with Chicken Man. Yami moving in for the kill while he's supported by his 2 bigs there. And Chicken Man will go down, as is now left down to Seraphic Poner and House and the Spider and Crab to pull things back. Zelk will get taken down. However, Seraphic Poner will take a lot of damage for that. Gladosaur moving in the charger to finish him off. Looking as though they are prioritizing the speed of the Spider here. Looks as though House may have been legged. He has in fact been legged. Spider going down, as Seraphic Poner now is left to run for his life and try and pull things back. Dropping under 30% here, and is not looking good for DSC, and that will be the match.
We've failed.
Very clean play coming out from 228 Reapers this time. Dark Sea Corsairs, unfortunately, just seeming to take a bit too long there to get their heavy firepower coming out from those Marauder 4 HPs in the range. Alright, and we'll get that scoreboard pulled up here now. Alright, there we go. The scoreboard is updated. Let's see here. Real quick, can I get those teams swapped around in the lobby before we go over the commentary of that match's scores? Alright, so coming out here from Dark Sea Corsairs, Seraphic Poner and that Crab pulling out 508 damage, closely followed by Chicken Man and that Blazer Marauder coming out with 524 damage. Prime Mister getting a lot of damage in the close sprawl there with his Serms, whatever it takes, unfortunately getting killed a little bit too quickly there to get out any real damage before he went down. Warlock Holmes and his Hellspawn seeming to have had a similar fate. Coming out then from 228 Reapers, you have Gladosaur and Yami no Tenshi as well as Sir Ramrod all there with the almost 600 above club, pulling out a lot of damage there in their Blazer mechs. Follow up very, very closely there by their Wolf Pack of the Fire Starter and the Crusader. All right, and Team 1 is locked. Starting the time for Team 2. All right, and Team 2 is locked. We will be beginning. Drop 5, Intersphere Coalition. Div A, 228 Reapers versus Darksea Corsairs. All right, and welcome back for Drop 5 on Series Metal Scrapyard. Be interesting to see here if the teams stick with their trade and receive or brawl decks that they used the last time, or if they have spiced things up and tried out a different strategy. For those who don't know, this is a interesting situation of JC being the unit leader for 228 versus Griffin Space, a longtime member of the same unit. All right, and the teams are dropping in here. Looks as though we have likely more Blazers coming out here from 228.
Command coming in. Capture and hold
Reapers
the
seem
resource
to
points.
be quite
Stop
in
any
love with their
hostiles
Blazers
that get
so
in your
far.
way.
And it will indeed be more Blazers coming out here, as well as JZ bringing in the quad large X-Pulse. Then for DSC, they're sticking to their guns with that Serum Brawl, and they're bringing 3 Catapult A1s, followed by likely 4 XPL balances. And it sure is. That Spider here, moving up. Variant moving towards Theta. House backing away as he sees some lasers coming out for him there. Epsilon getting capped here by Yami.
We have gained Epsilon. Resource point
Variant
Theta
then
is
quickly
ours.
also taking the cap on Theta there. 228 quickly getting that 2 cap again, allowing them to play that more passive play style that they did the last game, without having to worry about the cap sneaking up on them. Though it looks as though Yami may get collapsed on here. There's 3 catapults looking to move around there and take Epsilon from him. The Atlas is trading out there with the Blazer mechs. The Atlas is finding out just how much cover there is on this map, however, though, as they are unable to get out any significant damage there, while taking a lot in return from those Blazers. Poner there, getting a little bit of damage off now onto some of the Chargers, taking a lot in return, however. Griffin Space not quite able to shoot over the terrain there. Just those low arm mounts. Oh, and Yami is going to find those catapults and get leg. Yami will go down here very quickly as he gets caught out and taken down by the catapults of DSC. Catapults looking as though they're going to go for a very wide flank here. Try and use this terrain to their advantage to get in the range unlike the last time. And possibly try and assassinate some of these assaults.
They've taken Epsilon.
Griffin Space here now, trading out with the Blazer mechs. Taking a lot of damage here as he tries to trade out with them. Getting off a good damage as well, as he will knock Galadosaur and Ramrod down to 95% or under. And the catapults now are getting in the range here. Chicken Man will get burned down here quite a bit, losing 25% in that first jump he made. House getting in the back of Lermgod there, getting Lermgod distracted, removing him from the fight. Galadosaur, it looks as though may go down first here, as Galadosaur takes the brunt of the damage. Galadosaur jumping in the trench, getting out of there, as they will swap targets with Prime Minister jumping down to try and focus him down. And Galadosaur will go down. Chicken Man quite beat up here as they then now move and set their eyes on Jay. Lermgod also looking to have been taken out there. DSC doing a very good job of separating 228 here, as 228 will get split up and taken down. And that will be a very clean 1-6 for DSC. Very good match played out here by DSC, taking the win to make an overall win for them this match of 3-2.
Zeta is controlled by the enemy.
Alright. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll have a quick intermission here as I swap over some of the settings. And we will be moving on now after this to Division E 2D20 versus Savvy in just a moment here.
your vibe or what's interesting, that might be it. And Bing Bong, Hammerfell has arrived. What up, Hammerfell? Oh, absolutely. So again, everybody, I gave a little bit of introduction to Hammerfell. You're already in the lobby? No, not yet. I am ready.
All right.
Boom, invite the lobby.
All right. And for those watching over on MWO Leagues 3, this will be the beginning of Nuisance Value 2D20 versus Savvy Sakura Arms Venture Initiative.
Heck yeah, we're super excited. I was just kind of filling in my chat. So for 2D20 Nuisance Value, this is their first match in the comp. This is the second match for Savi, correct?
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah, no buys for them first week. They're here to play and party down. Now, Hammerfell, we haven't casted ever, I think? Question mark?
Together, I believe not.
Well, isn't this exciting then?
Absolutely.
Me and you in our teams have gone back and forth for many a time, playing against, playing with in some situations. And this is kind of the same thing. Like, I'm not having an active role of Nuisance Value. They're kind of self-organizing. They just kind of glean information from me sometimes. But the same thing goes for Savi, right? Didn't you help coach this team into where they are?
Yes, so I give a bit of a spiel here. So Savvy originates from a group from actually PlanetSide 2, a kind of sister game of the Mech Warriors. They actually are owned by the same parent company of NN Global 7. So they started out as a unit over there. We've slowly kind of converted a couple of them over to play Mech Warrior. So this is the first effort of that group of Savvy kind of moving over here and trying out dipping their toes into the competitive scene of Mech Warrior Online.
That's actually really cool. What a little fun deep dive in that one. And you've been pretty active, just trying to get them, used to the game and playing and all that stuff.
Yeah, a couple of them back when I used to play with SPQR, for those who don't know. A couple of them used to play with us there, so a couple of them have kind of dipped their toes in there. Hubbletown played with me in last year's ISC when we played with Aces Wild's third team, the Dragon Knights. So a couple of them have had a little bit dip of their toes in there before, but this is their first time as a cohesive team, kind of getting in here and getting the try it out on their own.
Oh, that is super exciting. I mean, us in 2D20, like that's generally what we love. We love getting people involved in comp because, let's be real, it's way better than quick play. 100% better than quick play. So that's great. That's actually really cool, Hammerfell. Good on you for helping people get involved. That's awesome. And just to clarify for everybody, so I will be streaming off of my channel. Hammerfell is going to be streaming off of MWO Leagues 3. First time I think that we've ever really done anything like this, which is going to be interesting because it's going to give y'all different perspectives while still getting to enjoy both our wonderful voices.
Absolutely.
Hammerfell, we didn't get to really talk about this. You know how I like to cast. You know what I like. I'm going to leave, we could go over the teams. Like, you could go over what mech builds they have. I'll go over my side just to speed that process up.
Sounds good.
Well, I'll let you go over any kind of technical strategizing because you're a genius and I already know you are. But when it gets to the nitty gritty, when it gets to that sweet, sweet action that we all love and enjoy, I might get into it if that's okay with you.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's the perfect flavor to kind of go with me here. Is I tend to be a little bit more analytical, a little bit less, that color and flavorful punch that you bring to the table here. So I think it'll be good.
Oh, Hammerfell, did I ever tell you you're cute? Just in a mental, fascinating way, okay?
Oh, you didn't have to.
But yeah, I just gotta throw it out there. Well, I'm excited to do this. This will be the second cast for me today. I'm super excited just to get back into casting, get back on the scene again. And I gotta say, looking at the shoutcasting channel and looking at how much MDO comp has progressed over these last couple of years, it's cool to see so many casters doing it now. It's very rewarding as someone who gets people involved in comp to see people being like, yo, I want to cast. Yo, I want to be a part of this. I want to help our poor dear admins who work so hard on trying to get this stuff together. It's also a good scene. It's a good look.
Absolutely. No, it's been really great to not only see that, but just a record turnout overall for Industry Champions 3 here, with a total of, let's see here, we have down to Division I. My brain is small and I cannot count that much. However, I believe we normally go down to Div G, so there's an additional 12 teams on average, more than what we normally have in our divisions.
Oh, it's amazing. I know that Team 1 is locked and we're about to get into Team 2, getting their stuff together. Do you want to go over any brief ideas and concepts of Caustic Valley? Like, what stuff do you expect to see?
Yes, Caustic Valley here is an interesting map with the plumes of smoke that are on it, and kind of bringing in and making it a bit interesting here. Some sightlines kind of cut off from each team around the center of the map here. You either tend to like to see some teams kind of set up here, Fox 3, Fox 4 in trade, maybe some Fox 5 from Team 1, and then possibly either C3 or C5, C6 holds coming up from Team 2 for trading, or you can possibly see some teams either run through the center of the map in Theta, or around the side here through the 3 line as they try and get in the brawl. And it looks like both teams are locked, and we will be getting the game started.
We are launched. All right, here we go. Caustic Valley. Again, 275, or excuse me, 275. I'm not tripping, right? Yeah, 275 tonnage is what they allowed. So we do typically see a lot of light mechs, medium mechs. Sometimes you see occasional heavy assault, but a lot of it is focused on either mid-range or brawl trade. So let's see what happens. I'll go ahead and make the journey since you're on the fancy MW leagues. I'll cross to the other side of the map and see what mechs are over there. You can start us off with the mechs you have on your side.
All right, so Team 1 here, we'll see what they are when they spawn in. Got those
Good
drop
old
ships
Caustic
ready
Valley.
to come in. Absolutely. The very beautiful sulfuric yellow.
Yeah, I got to give it to Caustic Valley with the new changes to happen. It did open up a lot of different avenues, and we get to see that through Emerald Vale and Serious Scrapyard. There's a lot of more stuff you could do on these maps than people sometimes take into account until you start being a nerd and actually doing custom grounds or testing grounds, exploring the maps, looking at different angles. And I love that. I love that the changes that the PGA has done so far has made at least feel a little more, mentally stimulating. Like you can play around with it a bit more.
Absolutely. There's all sorts of different spicy angles that you can take up here, little nooks and crannies that you can kind of stuff your mech in, get some, very safe peak angles, as well as some very, very sheltered flanks. Try and maneuver around the map.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be great. Any dark horse mechs you want to see? Oh, never mind. Forget that question. We'll bring it up in between the matches as we are getting into it. What do you got for Team 2?
For Team 1 over here, we have the Fleece 17 coming out from Cryo, Firestarter, a couple Hellspawn 8Ps, and a Stalker 7D. Hellspawns here coming out with Snubnoses and Serms. And large XPL and rocket launchers coming out here from Poke Lighting and that Stalker 7D. What do you have on your side?
All right, so for 2D20 Nuisance Valley, we got ourselves some 3 Wolverine 6Ks running 5 medium X-Pulse coming from a bunch of the different pilots. We got Plato, Kamasi, and Transcacker running 5-starter A's and E's. We actually got an E and a K. They're really just trying to change it up. 8 small pulses on all of them. So we're looking for a brawl with a little bit of mid-range Overwatch coming in from the Wolverines.
Looks to be a 3-line push coming out here from 2D20. As they set up on that hill, looks like they may get spotted by Cryo here.
I would hope so with that kind of scouting. The Flea is excellent for that scouting purpose. And to notice, we have a 2-cap lead already beginning with good old Savi. Let's see if it actually edges them into a victory or at least forces 2D20 Nuisance Value into an uncomfortable situation.
Absolutely. 2D20 here forming up on that hill, looking like they're getting ready to kind of push in. Wrist and Catgirl hanging back a little bit here as Cryo may get caught out as he finds the entirety of their team.
I think he just played tag. He just tapped his leg.
And he will get out, it looks like. And 2D20 will pull off the push there as they got spotted by that Flea. Looks as though they are maybe taking a different route.
Seems a little disorganization coming out of Nuisance Valley. I don't think they've scouted the main team. I'm assuming that's making them uncomfortable.
Possibly here.
Stavi is definitely scattered out Nuisance Valley, though, and seems to be perched and ready to go, waiting to see if they can get them to commit a little bit more before they send their mechs in. And we are off! It's like we have a little bit of the trading coming out. Hellspawns have moved in, put a little damage on Plato. Seem to be their called target, possibly. A little bit of mixed focus fire going out as they Wolfpack some Nuisance Valley.
Frankenstein will go down.
Pick up the Hellspawn. Frankenstein is down in the Hellspawn. We do have Malkaron getting some nice back shots on the enemy teams. Looks like the Wolverine 6Ks, but Plato's legs are both opened up. Is Malkaron going down? Little again, mixed fire going for it. Leg pop for Malkaron using those jump jets to give him at least a little bit more mobility in that fight, but does go down second. But not to be taken. Arch gets Plato finally out of the game. 1 Hellspawn left for Savi. Savi does get their last Hellspawn legged in the fight as the Wolverines are trying to curt and skirmish around. Looks like Hellbatown is going to have to give out the best fight they could possibly can. But that's a lot of medium X pulse and small pulse. Catgirl doing a little bit of a face hug, but Hellbatown not to be taken down so swiftly. Delphs to shrugs. to disallow it, and the lone Stalker 17, pretty fresh, I might add, is still left in the fight. Right leg orange. But a 1v5 situation is a little scary. Come on, Poke and Lighten. Get one more kill. Don't let him take you down. Overheat at least. No! But it was a good fight either way.
Unfortunate. All right, very clean match coming out here from 2D20. A little bit of some hesitation coming out there at the beginning, but once they committed to that brawl there, they were able to cleanly take out that 6-1 kills, and now they just gotta get those last few caps to take the win.
But not to take away from Savi. I mean, one of those Wolverines is legged. The other Wolverine's a little fresh. Let's check out the other mechs just to see. Some overheat damage coming out of our 2D20 nuisance values Wolfpack. But yeah, the Wolverine 6Ks seem to be more or less okay.
Beta is
They
controlled by
managed
the
to
enemy.
take a little bit of the damage, but I feel like what it came down to is while they hesitated in the beginning, they were able to engage. When they did engage, their Wolfpack was willing to get pretty deep in there, which I think caused a little bit of confusion. But to be fair, the first match being confusing and chaotic, no way.
Light tonnage with a lot of fast, speedy mechs and chaos. Who would have guessed?
Publishing stats, I'm sure Hammerfell is doing the same thing. So if you forget to get your stats, there you go. You're welcome. Good damage overall. I mean, 323 coming to that Stalker 7D, so it definitely got a little bit of farm in that fight. For nuisance values, kind of spread out across the board, itching in their way. Catgirl barely doing a little more damage than good old Civ. So, yeah, good fight.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, Hammerfell. That was some action. That was quick too. It took a while for them to get involved. I was really expecting the Hellspawns to hit really hard. I think it was just a little bit of the chaos of the Wolfpack, but I definitely can see that those the shots and skill is improving with Safi from like comparatively last week already. Like I feel like this is gonna be a very competitive fight to begin with.
Absolutely. You know, they've been putting in the effort here, and I'm really hoping that it is able to show through from this time.
All right, we're going to go ahead. So that was Caustic Valley. We already now moved to Emerald Vale. Team swaps do not happen just yet. They'll happen the one after this one. Now, a couple things, like I already mentioned it during the last match. So all the Wolverines and all the Firestarters being a pretty classic Innisphere mech has been burnt by 2D20 distance value. They will not be able to use any of those mechs for the rest of the match. So key notes important there. Stalker was used earlier on by Savvy, but at the same time, Stalkers are like if they're gonna see play, maybe Emerald Vale, maybe series, but it's gonna be hard to commit more than just one. So I think they could be okay with that one. The Hellspawns were burnt away by Savi, but Hellspawns again, they're quick, they're fast, they're mobility, so it might have been useful in series, but using them on the first drop, I think, is a very fair call. Pretty solid one. No Crusaders used by either team. No javelins, right? Did correct me? Were they used by Savi?
Nope, there was no javelins coming out there.
And would you agree, Hammerfell Javelin kind of a goated mech, even with the recent quirk changes? No Osiris's either, which surprised me a little bit.
Absolutely, the Osiris was a mech that was possibly, as you mentioned, a Dark Horse mech that might come out. Osiris is one I was thinking we might see here today, possibly, just because it is a newly buffed mech here. Possible for some teams to try and see and experiment here and see if any of those variants now are quite good, as still a fairly untested mech now with those brand new buffs.
It might make people pretty nervous because who knows how many people are actually practicing on them before like this said week match. Now next week, I'm always willing to put money on it. We'll probably see at least a few more Osiris's. I don't know if you can see a full drop's worth, but maybe skittered around, one here and there. At least I would be interested to see some more Osiris plays. I feel like Osiris's were always a mech that were good, just a little squishy. But hopefully these changes make them a little more killy. Maybe we'll see a little more play for it. Do you want to go over Emerald Vale and tell us all the cool strats that people might doing?
Absolutely. So Emerald Vale here. It's another interesting map that has some unique terrain quirks coming out on it here with all the little trees dotted out there. You will occasionally hear some people get upset about the trees in this map as they don't like to shoot at little red boxes. However, similar to Caustic Valley, I think it adds a unique depth and flavor to the game as it you have to take that into account when creating your drop decks. And make mechs that are able to handle those trees as you're coming in here. Triple cap is Epsi Theta Kappa there with the 2 caps on the either ridge side. It'll be interesting to see if either team wants to come up here and kind of hold these ridges. And just to play a very passive receive playstyle with them like trying to hold Theta Kappa, or if either team is going to try and push the other initially there and try and get that early clean sweep. Seeing your 2 minutes remaining on the clock here for Savvy as they get ready for the match.
Savvy, I would like to see them do a little bit of range trade. Can I ask? I don't know if this is too telling or like that, but just because you don't get too often where you have casters who have had a personal hand in their teams that they're currently casting for. What kind of like coaching drills? Like, is there any kind of stuff that you could, or if you don't want to be specific towards Savvy, what would you recommend is like a good way to get involved with comp, or like what are some basic steps that people could practice? Do you have any like inside tips or tricks for people?
Yeah, so the main training routine that we go for is just like an overall baseline is generally split the team up into do 3v3 or if we can get enough people up to 6v6 lobbies. We're in kind of a unique situation here with me also being a member of 228 and us having both our TSLL and 228 Reapers team that we have a lot of people who are really interested in getting in there. And you ping out some of those guys for lobbies and we'll get 17 people that show up and are ready to go and just kind of hop in the lobbies and cycle through. We just kind of go in there and then I would say just practice target priority. Your composition doesn't matter as much in those practices. It's just a matter of getting down that target priority. Target's called, making sure that target goes down. As you'll notice in a lot of games, that can be the winning factor of whether or not a team was just able to nail that shot to a single target, if they spread out their damage over the majority of a team before they were able to finish anything off.
Wow, that's actually pretty solid. It makes me a little embarrassed to tell you one of the 2D20 comp practices. We bring in mechs, specifically the spiders, throw as many JJ's engines and a PPC on them, and run no armor. And the idea is that it's called spider dodgeball, and we tell people that they can't hit each other unless they are flying through the air. So it's kind of like, you can't be on the ground and fire. And we try to get people to practice surviving as long as they can while hitting difficult shots while transfers in the air. Typically, we do it in HPG. Yours sounds a little more put together than ours, but you know what? It's different flavors, different styles for
Absolutely.
sure.
And for training light pilots, I think that's definitely a very valuable skill. As you've seen in this tournament over the last couple casts, spiders are quite popular mech here. So that is definitely a valuable skill to have in the light pilots. So as a light training regime, definitely not the most out there, I would say, as it definitely builds those skills of being able to hit your shots while, jumping up and trying to pop tart or land your shots while your jump jets you're kicking in.
Oh, Hammerfell, you're gonna make me blush with all these compliments you're giving me. You're gonna let it go to my head. Oh, goodness me. All right, everybody. Well, it looks like we got Team 1 locked. Team 2 is starting to organize and get to their positions. One thing to important, so we do see an Alpha and Bravo Lance, 3 and 3, so not too showing, but we do see an Alpha Lance and Bravo Lance coming out of Team 1. Why that matters is because while some of these maps, the spawn locations are not that significant, they're kind of close to each other, so you can kind of hide your numbers and not be too much of a problem. But Alpha Bravo, for me, tells me that we are going to see a Kappa push. Now, they could shift and go towards Theta. They could shift even harder, especially if they're doing for big brain plays, and go to the EPSI, so not putting people in Charlie purposely to make them think that they're not going to go for an EPSI play. But this leads me to a Kappa play. Kappa is an interesting ridge line because Kappa ridge line is very long range focused on a lot of different peaks. I find that a lot of people are running more blue lasers up there, or people who are not wanting to brawl because EPSI, or where we can see is usually the Team 2's leaning on site, has a lot more singular like sniper ridges. Yeah, you can kind of snipe wherever, but there's enough middle ground cover over that Epsilon bridge that makes it difficult for teams to aggress and be on each other. I do see the Team 2 lot coming out of there just to notice it. So we have a 1% in Alpha, 2 people in Charlie, and 3 in Bravo, which is even more wild and unpredictable. And I can see why people don't like playing against 2D20. All right, launching.
I mean, it brings some flavor here. Might be going for probably a double cap strat where they send two to Epsi or could possibly having one person from Charlie go towards Theta while the rest all move up that Kappa ridge line. The Kappa ridge line definitely favoring Team 1 in most situations there, as they do have a fairly good oversight from there to Theta. As well as that nice
Absolutely.
protective cover just before you enter in Fox 3 to kind of peek out of if they try and get pushed.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I really do like Kappa's line of like sniping. I don't like it in the sense that if you do get brawled into, it's kind of this long stretch of land. that for at least for the brawlers, I love brawling, so of course I'm not gonna like it. But for like rangers, it could be very easy to set up a fire line and punish it. Now, if as we've seen with some of the matches and other comp scenes, blue lasers and gauss can stop a brawl, but your focus fire has got to be very on point. And in most cases, it's more wise for you just to W key away, put yourself in a situation where they might not expect you. And I haven't seen it yet. Both teams have been doing a great job. The first match is kind of no excuse not to. I hope both teams continuously use their light and medium mechs even as we go into the bigger tonnage, because I find, especially on this map, it is a big old map. The verticality makes it such a big map. And when you don't have scout mechs or mechs that are able to be quick, JJ uses to get into these high ridges or high locations, or even to duck out of danger, can be really tragic. So I hope both teams continuously use their light and wolfpack mechs as we wait for someone to load in. It's probably a 2D20 member not feeding their hamster who's trying to spin their computer wheels.
All right. It will definitely be interesting to see here. Hoping to see maybe a bit of some unique strategies coming out here, but we'll find out shortly here what each team's bringing out. Hold. Okay, we're holding. Someone did not connect, it looks like, so there will be a hold.
Hamster's on strike. Heard.
Seems to be a common theme with this map today, as had a similar instance in a match on this map earlier today.
Stop any hostiles that get in your way.
Yeah, so when a hold is called, we actually have no influence on it whatsoever. Do see a little... Okay, they went back to the position. This is kind of a newer teams, but you always kind of wonder what's going to happen with some of these. It looks like the hold was called at 14. Okay, 14:50. All right. So now we're moving. Sorry, go ahead. What do you have on your team?
So it looks like we count out here from Savvy some very close range CERN brawl. Looks like they're taking some interesting pathing here. Some of them going up on the ridge, some of them not. We got a catapult, 2 Archer 5Ws, and then my favorite, my beloved hero mech. This is, in my opinion, the most underrated mech for assault mechs in the game for this tournament. The Zeus Skokomesh coming out, along with 2 Phoenix Hawk 7Ss. Looks like Fubblewitz in his Fleet 17 here is going to be on the Kappa point as the 2 Phoenix Hawks from Savvy come up and catch him. What do you have over there from 2D20?
All right, so we'll have to go quickly because I feel like something's about to happen real soon. Fibblewitz in the Fleet 17 running the standard 5 small, 2 medium pulse. We do have a kind of a mid-range build with 3 Orions, 2 of them being 1 Vs running UAC 5s and running a... Or not 2. Wow, they have... Yeah, 2 Orion Vs running UAC 5s and SRM 6-4s. We have the Orion V8 running at the rear with the rocket launchers and 2 large X-Pulse and an LB5. And Thunderbolts running mini X-Pulse. And we do see kind of a mid-range... brawl focus, was we do see that Savi does have 2 split teams, but making a wise decision and just disengaging from that top entirely, draw so they can at least fight together as a team. Now let's see, does Perry go for it? Does Perry drop?
Ooh, Perry will drop. Will Savi be able to capitalize on this? Hopefully they will move in there. Looks like 2D20 is jumping off the ridge too. Franken and Cryo being a bit slow to turn around here.
Perry is getting absolutely focused out. Good leg focus going on to them. They already have a leg open. Ooh, we do see a lot of side tours are actually going on, but Perry is going to be the first one to go. Not before Plato takes out Pokken Light in that Catapult A1. This Catapult's very scary, Max. Always a good one to call. Looks like Arch in the Zeus is trying to be focused out. Does get picked, but standing proud, standing strong. We do have a little bit of mixed fire going on now. Now it's broken down into mass chaos. We have Frankie 2 going next down by Civ. We have Fibowitz grabbing Cairo the Twisted. We have Cairo the Twisted grabbing Civ. Good job. Oh, Cairo does go down in the Archer, so it's all up to Malkaron in Hubbletown. It is a 3v2 with an overheat by Indigo. Does save themselves from override. And wow. Whoo!
The tanky quirks there on the Onions reigning out supreme, as those Onions will survive. And it will come out a clean 6-3 for 2D20 versus Savvy.
Very scary, though. There was a lot of moments where I was curious to see how this could play out. But the disengage from Savi was great. Like, if in that kind of situation, unless their Wolfpack was able to get behind quick enough, which I don't think they would have been, disengage from the top was the right call. And Perry dropping in that Thunderbolt was an easy grab, and they did punish it. They did grab it eventually.
Theta is controlled by the enemy.
2D20 Nuisance Valley, knowing that they lost a mech, they could have sacrificed it and be like, sorry, sucks to suck. But instead decided to join up with the Thunderbolt, and I think ultimately that was the right call. They wanted the mid-range, slow brawl kind of fight, and going for target prioritization was good. I do think the catapult was a better first choice. Franken, I think, could have gotten more value because it was not the second choice, but there were two archers in that situation. Oh yeah, Cairo survived for quite a while. I think the Zeus was the second shot, I believe.
I believe that is correct there. Yeah, I think the big deciding factor there was the two archers kind of being far out there on that ramp. Probably possibly communication
Kappa
not
is
quite
under
getting sent
enemy
out there or
control.
something, and they didn't just unfortunately didn't turn around to get that pick on Perry fast enough, and so they were a bit late returning to that fight, which I think did ultimately cost Savvy in the end.
Yeah, honestly, it was very close. So, like, there was so much brawlability out of what your team had that I feel like they could have probably cleaned it up. But yeah, I think it was a couple mistakes. Like, actually, it was a good play by Salvi. Maybe communication could have brought them a little bit stronger together. But I also don't think they expected to be handed a thunderbolt. You know, like they had to react to that situation, and that might have made it a little tough. Real quick, coming out
Absolutely.
the damage. Orion V is doing 543, 429, very good. And then coming out of Savi, pretty solid damage numbers across the board, so everyone got a little taste. 289 coming to Franken and the Archer, 240 or 260 one of the Phoenix Hawks, which is really good. But yeah, the catapult game focused out. That's a lot of burst damage to lose, so that's tough.
Absolutely. It looks like as well that Skokomesh unfortunately was just not quite able to get out much damage before he got taken down either. Managing to get that crucial kill, but then falling before he could really get off more than one alpha, it looks like.
I mean, simply put, it just wasn't the engage they wanted, and I think that's what it came
Absolutely.
down to. Which is tough, but I mean that is also how comp goes. Like everyone has these grand schemes and map tactics ideas of how the match should go, and like most military plans, and then it actually gets to put into reality, and that's where it becomes tough. We're gonna just start the team swap. We're gonna move on to the next map. Wait, no,
Same map here, Emerald
same map.
Vale. That is a
Thank you.
unique part of Inner Sphere Champions here, where the first map is a one-off map. You play that map once in that lighter tonnage, and then you play the same map twice, swapping sides with the exact same tonnage. This drop, I believe, goes out to 375 tons, if I'm remembering
Correct.
correctly.
Correct. You're absolutely
Um,
right. Look at you.
which gives a bit of an interesting dynamic of each team can set up and plan for each side of the map, and then also build their strategies around each side of the map there for each drop. Also kind of eliminating that if there is a map with a side bias, you get to play both sides, so you're able to take advantage of that side bias if you were able to.
Mm-hmm. And there is also like kind of communicating on top of that. There is value over being team two because you do get to see what the tonnage lock is going to look like. You do get to see what the R or like the positioning the lances are with a little more time to think about that. Team two, once they're locked, team one only has a little time to be like, okay, analyze, figure it out before they launch or someone launches. So there is that element to it as well. But ISC taking the fun out of everything, made sure that there is not a big minimum tonnage gap because in some tournaments, at least in the past, you didn't have a minimum tonnage or you had a very, very low minimum tonnage. And that's when you start seeing one team, usually team one, bringing assaults and heavies, and team two bringing Shadowcats and cicadas and annoying little tiny mechs that is not actually trying to get in a fight but wither you down bit by bit. So all things considered, I think it's a healthy decision because it's going to keep things from less being toxic in some avenues. But I'm curious to see like if this is something they keep on going to further tournaments because like it does offer a little bit of oh no factor, and I'm a big fan of the oh no factors.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I gotta say, Safi has lost these first two drops, but again, the first one is kind of a cough up because it is just the first drop. Everyone has a random time with the first drop. The second one, I think it was just a purely little like positioning, but that's easy. That's an easy fix. Like at least it wasn't like a rock paper scissors, or it wasn't a huge giant blunder. Like maybe they ran away from the fight, or like it was definitely just a little bit of a positioning issue, which are easy things to fix. Which is the stuff that when I'm trying to coach a team, that's what I look for. I want to find the things that are easy to fix, and then for the bigger problems, it's just hopefully works out through them listening to you, or just experience, just in general.
Absolutely.
Um, and for everybody at home who are watching this match, so each drop does matter. Each drop does give you MC benefits, and then sometimes helps with like tie breaking or whatever when it comes to division placement. But a match win is when you win 3 of the drops. doesn't always really factor in. Some teams don't even really care that much if you win the match, but it's more important just to see if everyone's having a good time and that maybe there is effort and progression to get drops. The point of me saying that is like, well, yes, while Savi has lost these two drops, all they have to do is bring in their mental a little bit stronger, and I'm sure they can pull off this third drop and go on to the fourth and fifth and swing it. Because once you get into that higher tonnage elevation, like the 375, the big tons where we go to 425, that sometimes goes into a lot of people's comforts. Like playing quick and medium mechs is not everyone's favorites. Like Phoenix Hawks, for example, which is what Savi was bringing, an excellent mech choice, but can be difficult to handle, difficult to play, and sometimes just not enjoyable for people. And that sometimes is a hard thing to figure out is when you're trying to mix in being comfortable and familiar with mechs or maybe questionable builds or questionable mechs, and then trying to master comp, sweaty, meta, this is what you should be playing mechs. Sometimes you just have to be comfortable finding that middle ground and finding strats and like concepts that are easy to grasp, or not even like because people have no ability to do so, but they're just something they're comfortable with. Work them towards it. I myself was, just like most quick play players, only ran laser vomit because it's like, look, it's a trace and point. What else do I gotta do? And then I started getting to Gauss rifles, and then I started getting to PPCs, and then fell in love with DACA and SRMs and all that kind of stuff. So progression. That's all you really ask for. And for comp and ISC, first tournament 2D20s ever participated in, that's all we're looking for. Just getting people involved and having a good time. So
Absolutely.
Team 1 is locked. 5 tons not needed from nuisance value. So we saw a little bit of a brawl push coming to Savi. You think no spoilers, please. But I like the idea that they were still trying to see if brawl could happen. Do you think that they would try to continue with that again? Or do you think they're going to go and move on to some sniper shenanigans, some large X pulls?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they ultimately go with. I know they have a couple different strategies lined out for this map, so it'll be interesting to see in the end which one they go for here for their Team 2 side take of this map.
Oh, I can't wait. A little playbook action. I know it's for 2D20 we've practiced a lot of different things. I mean, obviously Brawl has been is an easy fallback for us because that's generally the easiest one to, well, I shouldn't say easiest. It is one of the more simple concepts to teach people and to get them to do. It's just, hey, stick together, murder ball, find a mech, don't block your shots, kill that guy. Leg, 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 leg. But then when you go into long range, you have to worry about your armor shifting, armor trading, and there are other things you can finesse with Brawl, but I would be curious to see if 2D20 would run a Brawl push again. They did go for an Alpha Bravo spawn, which again kind of leads them back towards Kappa, with an interesting pick in Charlie Lance. Team 2 still working their stuff out, but currently set up for an Alpha Bravo as well. So maybe both teams looking to play with Kappa.
Indeed. Yeah, Alpha Bravo there from Team 2, definitely a very aggressive lance setup there from Team 2. They could possibly go for a Theta push there, but more likely, I think you are absolutely correct that this will probably be a very quick push for them up towards Kappa to try and take that ridge line.
I mean, it's a good ridge line. I'm partial to EPSI. Do you think Kappa's better than EPSI?
For Team 1, I would absolutely argue that Kappa's probably better than Epsi.
Really?
However,
Okay.
for Team 2, Epsilon, I think, is probably the more safer pick there, just because trying to push in, as you mentioned earlier, from Kappa can be very devastating for Team 2 if Team 1 has set up that firing line there. But both, I would say that both sides definitely have their merits. I have played versus teams that like to take that C3 side over there on Epsi, and it's worked out very well for them. So I'd say definitely both sides are absolutely playable and have their own ups and downs.
No, that's fair. I guess I am a EPSI enjoyer. I didn't know it was. I assumed a lot of teams were looking at the EPSI just because, yeah, Team 2 for sure is just closer, so why not? But for Team 1, I thought it would be a good push just because you do have that middle ground cover. So, like, if you wanted to bring I don't know, not even a brawl setup, like a mid-range setup that would want to challenge their Team 2 natural positioning, that would be worth it. That would be a 50-50 that you would comfortably want to take just to deny Team 2. But I guess with the idea that Team 2 or Team 1 doesn't get to see where Team 2 is going to spawn, I guess it is more of a gamble. Because they set up for a Charlie Bravo, but it seems Team 2 is marshalling an Alpha Bravo Lance drop. That might make them feel like, oh, do we still go up here, or are we just wasting our time now? So I guess that's a fair argument. Up, Team 2 locked,
Absolutely.
ready to go. Let's get it on.
All right.
Okay, before we get to this next match, what mech do you want to see? I know we already saw the Stu Skull watch, which seemed to be a nice one for you. Any other Dark Horse mechs or a specific mech you would like to see in ISC this season?
Mech that I feel is fairly underrated right now probably would be the Battlemaster. It generally gets
Oh.
overlooked because of the Stalker. But I definitely think that there are Battlemasters that do kind of have their niche use. Once you've gone through your Stalkers here, don't think we'll see any today because I don't think either team has blown through their Stalkers quite yet. And arguably, if you haven't blown through your Stalkers, there isn't much of a reason to bring out a Battlemaster. But I would definitely say that would be the interesting mech of the day that I'd be curious to see if either team has picked up.
All right, hey, I mean I actually think that's a very astute and solid one to pick because you're absolutely right. Battlemasters do get overlooked quite a bit, even though they do have a lot of different builds you can run with them besides like Elord's laser poke. Like I've even seen some brawl builds that weren't terrible. They were actually pretty decent with pretty decent engine caps to go along with it. I guess if I was thinking about the same thing, there's a lot of different mechs that I don't think I'm ever gonna see, but maybe I will. I mean, have you seen any Black Knights yet? Because I haven't.
In scrims, yes. In actual games, I don't think I have yet, unfortunately.
I mean, I know there's not a lot of like the problem with the Black Knight is not necessarily anything wrong in the or like anything wrong with specifically the mech. It's just in comparison, like other mechs potentially do it better. I just would like to see a Black Knight just because, I'm sure that's somebody's fan favorite. That's like someone who's like, no, this mech is goated. I saw my first King Crab earlier today. Didn't think I was going to see any of those. Haven't seen a Fafnir though. Maybe a Fafnir would be nice.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Might need to hold again. Looks like someone here is having
I think it's the same person it was last time because okay, no, go. We're good.
All right, beautiful.
All right, go ahead and well, here I'll start it this time.
All right.
I think you went last time. All right,
Yeah.
coming out of 2D20
Stop any
value.
hostiles that get in
We
your
actually
way.
have 3 Hunchback 4 SPs, 5 small poles, 2 SRM4s, 2 SRM6s, and another 2 SRM4s, 2 medium X-Pulse, and 2 small lasers. And we got ourselves 2 Atlases. 4 large X-Post Atlas, 4 large X-Post Atlas, and a Flea 17. And yeah, I thought they were positioning for a Kappa push. That might have been a debate or a mix-up, who knows, going in for the FC push. What do you got over here?
We have 3 Marauders, followed up by a Black Widow Warhammer, all fitted out with either some snack AC-20 with snubs, or we got some light AC-5 PPC DACA.
Ooh.
Coming out then also with a Phoenix Hawk and a Firestarter. Neither team so far looking to have seen each other. Hubbletown does kind of sit up here and scope out what's happening at Kappa. Savvy 100% moving up there, trying to take that Kappa line as we thought they would. 2D20 seeming to kind of sit here in the center here, trying to kind of get an idea of where Savvy might be. Looks like they might have decided to move back towards the Kappa Ridge here.
I wasn't sure if they spotted anything because I thought maybe they did since they moved away from the Epsi cap. But
Fibblewitz not having capped to Epsi yet. Neither team haven't taken any one of the caps, so it looks like Fibblewitz is now going for that Epsi cap. Interesting to see if Savvy takes the Kappa cap yet or not.
I like that because like going for the cap, you might think be like, oh, why not get points on the board? Because it gives info. Like if nobody knows where people are, getting that info can be tragic. But now both teams are aware that some kind of action. Looks like TD20 is backing up to their spawn.
Looks like Hubbletown and Crow may be a little overextended here. They're a bit far up. 2D20 may be able to move in here and kind of punish that. Crow was continuing to extend while Hubble's doing a little bit of some recon here. Looks as though Crow may get caught unaware here by the Atlas of Plato. As he will push up, and he is spotted. Looks as though Crow may get gunned down here quite early on by Plato J and that Atlas.
Might be good for Savi, though. Because, like, yeah, those large explosives can do a lot of value, but Savi's got the slow brawl to deal with this. Oh, and there we go. We got a few exchanges. Not before Cairo leg and finished.
Savvy going out there, looking to spread that damage between Pericone and Plato, seeming as though they are focusing on Pericone.
Yeah, Perry's leg is open, overheating a little bit, but the Hunchback Frisbees are going in, trying to hold up those big mechs. We already got a leg coming out of Arch, and they're trying to turn them around.
One of the hunchbacks is legged. They will get a marauder. 2 marauders will fall here quickly in quick succession.
Atlas is still both going. It looks like Barry back did overheal him and had to power down. Look at the Warhammer. It is legs, but it is got in a pretty good position. Franken 2 putting out some work, trying to take the leg off of Funky. Does indeed get it. Does actually finish up the kill. Scrappy though, legs is still dangerous, is still scary. And Hubbletown getting legs as well by the Fibblewits. And there we have it. Wow.
A lot of damage spread out there, unfortunately, across those Atlases. Each Atlas either legged or very close to being legged. And it looks like even an arm might have been gone on Paracone. They will take out a side torso there on Paracone, but unfortunately it's not quite enough to finish off either Atlas. Those Atlases being allowed to sit there and just kind of continue to dish out that damage throughout the rest of the match.
Honestly, I thought Savvy was going to get it purely on the base of like the drop decks. I feel like that the snacks on the Marauders and the Warhammer being Overwatch should have been enough. Player ID right there. Real quick to note, Frankie 2, yep, and that Warhammer doing pretty good amount of damage. 529, like Plato J and the Atlas hit 461, but no one was able to get those kind of damage numbers compared to Frankie 2. So damage is there. Is just, I don't know. I don't want to say it in like meaning in a negative way. I feel like there was a bit of a stalling. I think that Savi might have wanted to initiate a little bit harder with those Marauders and actually take the initiative in that fight, because the large X Pulse Atlas is, yeah, they're hella tanky. They could put out a lot of DPS, but they do get hot. I mean, we saw
they get very
Atlas,
hot.
Like it was about to explode from the inside before even the legs actually happened. I think that would have been the play, but I don't actually run those Marauders. Do those get hot too?
Those Marauders stay fairly cool from my experience, especially the Black Widow as well. It can get hot, but you just let off the light PPCs, and then generally those ACs can kind of just carry the weight at that point once you've gotten through that initial extra damage. Overall, they're warm but manageable Daka mechs, I would say.
So do you agree? Do you feel like that maybe just a little more initiative out of Savi, and they maybe could have turned them back to themselves?
100%. I would say that probably that's been, as you know, their coach, my biggest criticism for them, you know, thing that they think they can work on is just they tend to stall out. They tend to start going and go, oh, we're getting shot at, or oh, the hunchbacks ran into the center of us, and they will kind of freeze up and pause there for a moment, and they just need to hit that go button. They're like they just need to punch it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, the hunchbacks are running into us, but those Atlases are almost dead. If we kill those Atlases, they're gone.
That's damage off the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, this is actually really interesting because I don't get to talk to too many coaches. So like one of the things I've ran into for being a coach is what I call the quick play mentality, right? And I'm sure you're already probably picking up what I'm getting at, and we kind of saw it a little bit right there. Is that in quick play, especially with 11 other people, there is that selfish nature, right? That you kind of have to play. Like, you know that NASCAR is going to happen. You know that homie is going to shoot you. Doesn't matter if you tell them that you're going to step into their fire or not. You know that no one's going to really stand there and let you be like, hey guys, let's stay right here and fight these guys who are hitting our flank. No, they're going to rotate away, you know, because people want to play a selfish game. And I feel that sometimes that unfortunate mentality, you know, that difficulty it is to play in that kind of like circumstance and not be even on a subconscious level affected, does sometimes translate to new comp players, because like in that particular situation, I feel like that they all wanted to trade and get value. No one really wanted to commit their own armor for the overall potential like win of the deck. Does that make sense? Do you feel like that's a accurate statement?
100%. No, I would absolutely agree with that.
And that's a hard thing to train out, at least from my experience. Like sometimes you just gotta I wouldn't say be rude, but there's been plenty of times it's like, look at me. You see how I died first, but you had a good time. You were able to get value. You need to be able to do that too. I mean, for the first 2 years of me playing with 2D20, that's all I did. I died literally almost every match, but I was always the first one to die. I was always the first one to get it. And between me and you, it only made me stronger because now I can spectate and look through people's views and be like, get that guy. But I feel like that's the only way I've been able to get my people. Have you tried to do that with this team, or do you feel like that's not necessarily it for them? Like they just need to just general practice?
No, I would say 100% that's kind of the issue. Is the moments they kind of start getting shot at, and like, ooh, I don't want to get shot at, and so they kind of start to back up, they stall out, and it's like, no, you're getting shot at? Sure. Turn and stop shooting if you have to. Like, get as much damage on these as you can. You hide that leg, get off the off shot where you can, but you're gonna die. If you're the first one getting shot at, you are dead. You'll die. It's not conditional, there's nothing you can do to stay alive, you will die. The rest of your team, though, is going to kill the enemies if you do your job properly and tank. I think that's the biggest thing that you're getting in the comp. You have to kind of shake that quick play mentality, as you were saying, off of get into that mindset of I'm going to die, but my team will kill them, and that's good.
Sorry, I was making sure I was keeping chat involved and appraised of what was going on. I have it set up to where I can update who's got drops, so people who come in between can see it. Just to clarify for everybody else out there, Noose's Value currently has 3 drops, Savvy has 0, but there are still 2 more matches to be playing, being on Series Scrapyard. With that casual pro segue, would you like to talk about Series, Hammerfell?
Absolutely. So, Series Metal Scrapyard here. Very interesting map, very unique map. I'm not too shy about the fact that I kind of hate this map, though it has slowly kind of grown on me, but not for what I would say are good reasons. This ISC. Series is a very interesting map, and it's kind of reminiscent of old Polar Highlands in a sense, where it's kind of rolling dunes. The dunes are a lot higher than that old map. And that leads to some interesting situations where you would think that there's a lot of great sightlands on the map. You'd think you get up high, you can see everything, it's great. But there's also a lot of ways to get on the other side of those dunes and cut off those sight lines. And so it's very interesting in that it's extremely easy to accidentally get your team cut off and split off on 2 separate sides of a dune or some sort. And you can very quickly get picked off by an enemy team if you're not aware of that pitfall in this map.
I'm actually kind of curious to see what these teams might bring. Like I've seen a lot at this map now. Speed brawls into sometimes slow brawls. Slow brawl does seem to get punished quite a bit here. I have seen a little bit of like long range trade, or at least long range Overwatch. Pop tarting though seems to be at least a somewhat of a fan favorite and somewhat of a sub theme for a lot of these decks. Maybe not the overall theme. Like I'm talking about the Crusaders with the PPC, snub or heavy otherwise. The Phoenix Hawks sometimes make plays. Now we've seen Phoenix Hawks come out of Savvy quite a bit. One of they would bring, I think they've only used 1 so far.
I believe they've gotten through 2 so far.
Is it 2? Okay. So maybe we can see 1 more come out. We've seen I think all 3 fleas at this point, right? Because
I believe so.
Flea and a fire starter bleed for a nuisance value only drop 1, and then a flea second drop, flea third drop is their only scout.
Yeah, I believe that is the case. I think one of the drops they might have used a fire starter, and the third Phoenix Hawk I believe came out there. So I believe they have 1 more flea left if I remember correctly. But then otherwise, yeah, they're fairly low on those options, their choices there. That is another one of their biggest weaknesses coming as a new team is their very narrow mech pool. Trying to help a lot of them kind of spread out and kind of get a little bit more of a wider mech pool in there.
I mean, that will come over time. I mean, heck, the 2D20 for ISC the first time, we ran was Vulcans and Bushwhackers for like the entire time, and it was painful to run those bushies and painful. The Vulcans were good back then. Now they're not. Well, some of the Vulcans are good, but like the Vulcan 5T, 5 MPLs, nothing better. Nothing was better than that.
Yeah. Now the Bushwhacker is actually phenomenal. Some of those changes have been made to it there with both you have the light PPC AC5 DACA. You got the SERM heavy machine gun. Like those bushies can do some hurt now.
I even ran, or I put together the P1 Bushwhacker running 5 SRM 6. It doesn't have JJ's, hitbox is still janky, and the spread is a little janky, but has the same amount of armor and structure as a Katara, which runs the 5 SRM 6s, given that Katara has a better hitbox for it. And it was just kind of interesting to see that there are other mech availabilities, stuff like that. And with how the past quirks and changes have been happening recently, I like them, and this might make it tougher for new teams and new comp people. I like them because it's going to give you more mech diversity. So there will always eventually be a comp meta. This is what you need to have. But there will be mechs now comparable enough that you're like, oh, you don't have that mech? Oh, but you got that one? Oh, that would probably be fine. It would be that kind of methodology, which helps newer players. Like, allows them to pick mechs that they would enjoy and like to play without feeling like they are, taking away their own personal enjoyment, their own personal desires, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. And Poke Lighty in here.
They're
Not
teasing
quite
us.
ready as they've locked, unfortunately. Here, we'll see how long it takes Savvy here to fix
Wait.
that. Wait, yeah, they're noticing that Poke maybe not readied up yet.
Maybe you should poke them. All right, there we go.
There we go.
I'm gonna wait just a second longer just to make sure. We good? Or I'm just gonna have to be good.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Cool. And get that
All
swapped
right,
over to the in-game casting scene here.
Oh snap! Let's do it. I get rid of my caster folder. Unfortunately, I've been covering up the pro caster right here. It's coming up the cap points and the mech percentages. Whoopsie.
Oof. Well,
You know what?
we'll have that fixed for the next 2 drops there, so then we'll be good here.
Yeah. All right, series scrapyard, another very mood feeling kind of map.
Absolutely.
I love it though. It's very much like a graveyard kind of style with the fog coming in, with the scraps of mech and ship debris everywhere. Very appropriate battle tech setting or mech war online setting.
Absolutely. No, I think it is absolutely as far as thematically goes for the game genre. It's a very like battle tech, rust and grime type of map. My just again biggest issue with it mainly comes down to the jank hitboxes on some of the metal scraps, and then also just there's too much cover, well, not enough cover, which is an interesting thing to say. Of just the rolling dunes provide a very, very great way to cut off sight lines, but then when you get to the top of those dunes, there is no cover. So it's an interesting balancing act of, do I want to see and be able to shoot them, or do I need to hide down the low ground?
Looks like we might have a little bit of issues. Okay, looks like people are getting their stuff together, hopefully. Yeah, okay, for what's single like that fun, that's a good sign. All right, I don't know who I'm by. I'm thinking I'm by Savvy. All right, you want me to start with mine, or you want me to start yours?
I'll start with 2D20 here. Looks like we have some maulers coming out here. MX90, my beloved. That's a mech I'm quite familiar with from last year's ISC. Interesting build coming out here with 3 AC5, AC2. I assume that is probably to make them a little bit faster here. That mech can run 4 AC5 with 2 AC2, which gets a little bit more damage coming out there. Followed up by Cyclops Sleipnir with 4 LB5 and 4 medium pulse. Another interesting build. That mech's fairly well known for either double UAC 5, double UAC 10, or full or LB 10. Flee from Fibblewitz then running out towards Theta. What does Savvy got?
So Savvy's brought 2 fleas, Cairo the Twisted Arch running 2 flea 17s, running very similar builds, a little bit of mixture. We have 3 Night Stars running, interesting enough, 4 rack 2s on each of them. Well, one of them is running 2 UAC 5 and 2 light PPCs, or excuse me, let me make sure, because that is, now I said out loud, yeah, 2 UAC 5s, 2 light PPCs, and 2 UAC 2s, and then our Marauder 4L bringing up the rear. Oh no, the Marauder, Marauder Alpha, I assume that's a hero. I'm sorry, I've got a little tripped out. They're all the same. They all look very similar, but 3 Night Stars, all 4 rack 2s. Marauder AL, which I think is the hero Marauder, running the 2 UAC 5s, 2 UAC 2s, and the 2 light PPCs. Blech, words.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Cairo the Twisted, finding the big tonnage, UAV going out, but nothing to hurt back for. I will have to claim the Cyclops. Oh, Play-Doh, I love you. The Cyclops is one of my favorite type of mechs, so I'm glad that we both seem to have our favorite mechs in the game. Does it get played? And yeah, the LB5 medium explodes is an interesting build, but it's turned out to be a very satisfying build to play.
All right.
Even only having 1 cap mech, technically, I guess you could say the Hellspawn can kind of do it. We do see that they did take over Theta and Kappa. We do see some nice rack fire coming out, pelting the Daka line that is nuisance value. Now it comes down to who could trade better.
It looks like
Daka or racks.
And it looks like that pinpoint Daka will win out here. Malkarev having the backup after taking a lot of damage. Hubbletown now taking in some of that brunt. Poke light in, trading back there. A lot of damage going on in Kamasi. Kind of equaling out that trade a little bit, though. Hubble took a lot of damage there, too. And Malk will go down.
And I think it was just simply Malkaron was peaking. Unfortunately, because of maybe the positioning, the other Night Stars were not able to. So it was effectively a 1v3 trade.
Absolutely.
That's real tough.
Hubble now kind of having the same issue as they're also getting shot in the back. Hubble now maybe realizing that they have some other issues to attend to.
Ooh, there we go. There we go. Hubble and Franken putting a lot of shots at Corsair, who was in the low ground. Or they're going legs. Okay, I respect that. Corsair kind of protecting, trying to pull out of that fight. Hubble Town not letting up, though. It's like, nah, I'm going to get that leg. Franken 2 moving up, but it does seem like the Fleas and Hellspawn have decided to take the advantage and go pick up the Marauder LAL. We do see the Fleas, one Flea trying to defend and one Flea trying to be the aggressor. Part of the twist is trying to get to the back line, hitting the rear flanks. We do see Corsair go down with the Night Stars. Night Stars are now trying to move back into the fight. The last Night Star is indeed legged, but it's still in the fight, still ready to go, and 2 Fleas are scary to deal with. Plato finally going down with the 2 Fleas actually ganging up on him. Good job, Cairo and Arch. Cairo and Arch just trying to stay alive at this point, see if they can pick up the other Mauler. Trying to pull themselves. Franken 2 is now scoring off against, unfortunately, a very fresh Mauler. Still might play it right. They're protecting the leg, but does get back shot by the Hellspawn. So now it's 2 Fleas against the world. But 2 Fleas are scary.
Absolutely.
They're working together. Look at that. Another kill going towards Savi.
No, absolutely. Fleas are terrifying here. I think the one thing that is against them is the enemy team still also has its own fleet to kind of keep them on their toes. So if they're able to maybe lure it off and isolate it, pick it off as together, they may be able to pull that back. Arc here taking a lot of damage.
Arch is open on both legs. Cairo is taking the, they're listening to what you're saying. They're internalizing the coach wisdom and was trying to isolate one of the mechs, but then decided to go right back in it. I think they just want to pick that Mauler. I think they really want to get the leg Mauler.
Absolutely. It looks like that is indeed what they're going for here.
Well, one of them is Cairo. Okay, they're playing with my emotions. Oh, there we go.
Oh, Cairo will get legged. Finished. Arc very close to getting legged here.
Ooh,
he will leg the Hellspawn, but he will get legged himself and quickly go down here. Fairly close match here coming out between 2D20 and Savvy.
I mean, there was a lot of isolated engagements, and they had those racks were doing some work. Publishing stats, there you go. If you need it, boom. Let's take a look. Wow, almost 1,000 damage. Now, given its DACA, given its no, it's a DACA mech with a fair amount of ammo, but getting 1,000 damage is not an easy feat to do for 6v6 format. So either Rist was not focusing components as well as they should, or maybe they just had that. I mean, 9 stars and a Marauder is a lot of armor to chew through. Not to take away from Humbletown. Humbletown, who was being the aggressor on that Mauler down the low ground and was able to pick it off, did pull 579 damage, which is solid damage to pull and what you would expect out of a Night Star.
Absolutely. It does look like there, unfortunately, the sighting factor might have been overexposing a little bit early there. His other Night Stars just not able to peek up with him. That Night Star just really underperforming there where they needed it to kind of shine. Just going down just too early again, taking that 1v3 trade. Very well executed from 2D20 there on that triple Mauler stack, just ripping him to shreds. Very concise CT kill there on that out on Malkarov.
And that's just for me, that's the only reason why I have a hard time personally with the racks, because the racks, kind of like the large X Pulse to a certain extent, require that face time, right? You kind of get that face time needed by normal DACA mechs, but they need it 100% in order to get that value. And for that damage to take over, that sustained DPS, right? Now with the other DACA mechs, the AC5s, LB5s to a certain extent as well, yes, you kind of want to out-trade and out-damage, but they don't necessarily need to take that phase time. They could put those fire out, dip away, or keep that precision going and maybe take off a component and wiggle. This is where your skill nodes of kinetic burst, the skill nodes you would find in the mobility tree to get to speed tweak, and the hard break, skill nodes. That little back and forth wiggle can throw off the wreck shots just enough. And if you can keep your shots in, Night Stars, especially with the new changes and they're a little bit more squatter or a little more not as wide mechs, was a good change. But does mean that their armor and everything is still relatively easy to hit CT. I did notice that Malkarvon, that big drop to where they hit 67% was purely based off of them getting headshot a little bit. Which, it's in a standard CT. That's kind of expected. No headshots, unfortunately, yet in any of this season. At least not that I've seen.
I believe there was 2 headshots in the game earlier today. Let's see here. So someone was talking about it. There was a little bit of banner about it in one of the channels in the comp Discord there. I believe Let me see here if I can find which match that was for real quick here while we wait for the teams to ready up. Teams are swapped. Looks out like T20 might be doing some members swapped in here.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who got the headshots. And yeah, for 2D20, we have in both teams a pretty sizable roster, and we are usually fans of like if you want to play, we'll get you involved. So we try to balance out everybody's drops. Which the good thing about that is that everyone gets to play, everyone gets to have a good time. The bad thing about it is that sometimes you don't get the consistency or chemistry building you might want if you had like a pure six that just plays every single drop. But it does also help with burnout, depending on what happens. And I got to give it to Salvi. Like, even though that was their fourth drop and they had lost the first three, it didn't look like they were a team that had lost those first three drops. They looked like a team that still was playing 100%. I think it was, again, just a little bit of the positioning. And the Night Stars and the Marauder, that's a lot of big tonnage to have to be next to each other and put out damage. So I think that kind of came down to it's just there was enough wiggle room. Like maybe they could have spread out a little bit more, possibly, and maybe played maybe even a little more aggressive with having some mechs like that Marauder in the back being able to put out that fire. But it's a tough one. That's a tough thing to do. It's and again, it's just like the stuff that we were talking about earlier. Like if you're used to just trying to sit back and farm, get as much value before you have to share your armor, it's a hard mentality to break. I'm not saying that that's exactly what happened there. Like I saw that when Franken 2 dropped down the Night Star to fight Corsair and the Mauler, Hubatown did come over to come help them out. So there is definitely some like familiarity and chemistry going on. And I love the work that was going on between Cairo and Arch. Like those two fleets did do a nice little cleanup duty against 2D20 nuisance value. So like there's good stuff coming out of these teams.
Absolutely.
Did you find the headshot people?
Yes, it looks like in the match for DPS, let's see here, that was DPS versus, let's see here, DPS was versus, somewhere in here I will see it.
No worries. I was just curious because headshots are pretty unique, and as someone who failed a headshot challenge of trying to get 100 headshots in a month, I only put actually like 9 days, could only get to 42, and that was with me maybe playing against tier 5, tier 4 to try to help me get those numbers up. It's tough. It's real tough. Like some people are pretty goated at being like, wait, you hit my head? I'm not letting that happen again. Even if I get killed by anybody else, I'm not giving you the headshot. So in comp especially, it's even tougher in my opinion.
Absolutely.
We need to have there should be a drinking game for the amount of times you said absolutely. I think I would love that.
I need to work on saying that. Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh, I do the same thing too. Like there's so many times where I go off, like I think you should do a drinking game of the amount of times I ramble and like go off on a random 3-part tangent for no reason. And like this might even be included as one of those rambles. So drink up everybody. Drink responsibly. Sponsored by MW Pound. All right, well, this is the final match. Still at 425 tons. Team 1 goes to Savi. Team 2 goes to 2D20 Nuisance value. And not to be biased, because, I know there is a little bias no matter how well we do it. But I'm trying to kind of keep it pretty objective for both teams. I would like to see 2D20 Nuisance value win this match purely because Salvage Crew, the team I played with, also won their 5-0'd their enemy team. So it'd be kind of cool to see both 2D22s 5-0 and, cause a little upset in our division. At the same time, I do want to see Savi take it back because while it is fun to put out 5-0s, it is kind of tough to take a 5-0. Like, you being, or C or 5, or whatever you want to say it. Yeah. And I don't think Savi should take it too much to heart because we do have a kind of a mixed roster of some 2D20 vets with a lot of brand new people being brought into the comp scene. There's still a little bit of like experience that goes into it. And I want Savi to appreciate how much of a good job and how much good work they put in and how much of an improvement they've made from here to like last week. Like it's a huge improvement. And I'm sure you already know Hammerfell, and I know that we've already been doing scrim partnerships with them. We're always down to scrim with you guys at Savi, and would love to help you grow any way we can. Even if it is just like if you want to drop quick play with any of the 2D20 folks, like we're generally pretty friendly to a lot of people. So as long as you're able to maintain the same friendliness when we get into matches, come play with us. I mean, the only way you get better is by playing more, and playing gets better. So I mean, Hammerfell can attest to this. 2D20 and SPQR have very difficult times playing against certain Div A teams where it doesn't even feel like you can remotely win. Like it sometimes feels like it's like, yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Like how do I get out of spawn? You know, kind of situations. I think we both experienced that a handful of times already. But you know, eventually you start figuring it out, and you start figuring out how to change the flow, how to make things upsetting, and I think you can do it, Sabi. I like the people you have, and I like the people that you brought together, Hammerfell. They seem like a pretty cool team and good people. So
Absolutely, no, and I'll make sure to pass that on to them here. Hopefully, they'll be watching this back, and they'll hear that nice message from you there. But
good.
no, absolutely, I would say the biggest thing to improve is making sure that you want to punch above your weight class, but don't punch too high. You know, if you're like a Div G Div F team, don't try and scrim a Div B or Div A team. You know, try and find someone Div E, Div D, and try and scrim with them. And you want to scrim someone who's a bit better than you, but not so good that you don't know what they're doing different. You know, you want to be able to analyze what your scrim partners are doing, and you want to be able to internalize kind of like, all right, this is what they're doing, this is what we're doing that's not working versus that. So what can we do that will work? You know, and kind of you want to make sure that you're able to improve based on what you're doing in your practices there. And I would say 100%
Wise.
that is the most important thing with scrims, is making sure that you're not demoralizing yourself by fighting people that you just don't know what they're doing different.
And especially with the teams that you can find that are just maybe slightly better. For a lot of us out there, like I could easily mention like OP4, CDU, SPQR, 2D20. Some of the FGRD blokes as well, especially the lower divisions. Like, just ask questions. Like a lot of us, like we just want to play Mech War Online, but that's not quick play. And like like 2D20 likes quick play, but we throw more than we win in quick play. We're more about just trying to have a good time with that. With comp, yeah, we take it a little bit seriously, but at the same time, we just want to expand and just to get a little bit better at the game. We're not looking for Div A, Div B. I mean, we're gonna take top 8 next year for Worlds, just saying, you know, casually. But we're not really trying to get division placement. We don't want to play through a whole year doing that stuff, but we'll gatekeep. We'll take what we can. But yeah, no, ask questions. Try to get involved. Like, there's a lot of great people out there. And for a game that's been around forever, there's surprisingly a pretty lively community and dedicated community to this kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't know how much we need to plug for MW Comp or any of that stuff, but I love to plug it in as much as I can.
No, absolutely. And again, you know, I said this in one of the matches I did last week as well with Ivor, but the competitive scene, if you're playing quick play and you're just like, man, you know, this isn't quite, you aren't quite vibing with quick play. You know, I'm kind of, this is something I've been experiencing as I was playing more quick play recently. I kind of at this point mainly play in lobbies. You know, I really enjoy that smaller, you know, like the 8v8 event week they did a while back where everything was just 8v8 was my favorite time that I've had in Prime Mech Warriors, because I enjoy that smaller, more, you know, tactical gameplay that you get out of the competitive scene where you have 8v8 or 6v6, and you kind of have to, you know, you're kind of forced by those smaller formats to have a bit more teamwork and cohesion.
Absolutely. See, I did it too. Look at this. I think it's important. I think it's important to get people involved. All right, are you ready?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Final match, everybody. Let's go. All right, so this is again 425 tons. Let's see what kind of mechs. Let's see if Fibboids can actually load in on time this time. Probably not.
All right. I got the Gamma spawn here. If you want to go pick up whoever spawns at Sigma.
All right, I got you. Have you ever gone into the outskirt buildings? Oh, this is painted on? I didn't know this is painted on. You have a painted on backdrop. I didn't know it was.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That one goes out into the aether. Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, I mean, because I just thought it was part of like actual structures, but is the radar dishes scenery, or are they actually there?
The radar dishes are actually there, yeah. No, it's anything that's like really far out there on the outskirts, yeah. It's in fact painted on scenery. That's cool.
Which is pretty good painting. Like, it actually looked pretty three-dimensional.
Yeah.
All right, PGI, I see you. You can flex. I like it. All right, looking at good old 2D20 distance value, we have ourselves, oh yeah,
Friend coming
baby.
in.
We got
Capture and
3
hold the
Charger
resource points. Stop any
1A1s.
hostiles
Finally
that
get
get
to
in
see
your
some Charger
way.
action. Running the 6 small lasers. I'm assuming large X pulse for all of them. Looks to be that way. We do see a hero coming out by Civ running the Thanatos. A Hangover, 5 SRM2, 5 small X pulse. We get an Assassin, 3 SRM6 Artemis, just 3 SRM6 Artemis. Okay, I respect it, Cat Girl. And then lastly, the Warhammer Saw 7 small X pulse on the Warhammer 90. What do you got?
We got a Zeus Skull, followed by 2 Orion Vs, a Marauder 4 HP, and a Catapult K2, followed up by a Javelin 11F.
Oh, I like that. Are we looking at some brawl? What do we got going on? DACA?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I should go over the builds. Yeah, we have triple MRMs on the Orion
Zeta is
Vs.
controlled
We
by
got
the
some,
enemy.
let's see here.
Wow.
Is it going to be SERMs or Rockets? We got SERMs coming out there on the Marauder 4
I
HP.
was hoping rockets too.
And then
The
also on
SERMs
the
are better.
Catapult. We
We're getting
have
assaulted.
Snack coming out with triple snub and an AC-20.
Yeah. And we got our first Javelin coming out in, I think, for both teams. It's crazy. Yeah,
I
didn't
believe,
notice it.
yeah.
Oh, and a snub nose on that Javelin.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, snub and 6
Interesting.
machine guns, which I think is a good play for the series. Oh, we do see. Are they going to be noticed?
They are not. Looks like
Oh,
2D20 will get the first shots out here onto Plato.
Little
Bit of a
speed
delay
action.
there, and them turning around to try and fight there.
Oh, wow, look at that. Kind of a weird engagement, but I'm here for it as they are enveloping Cairo the Twisted in that catapult. Does go down. Looks like the next one up is maybe the Marauder. Zeus is going in, trying to sow chaos and destruction amongst the ranks. We do have Plato getting legged in that exchange. Let's see if they are able to take him out before losing another. But unfortunately, Arch does get legged. Broken Light does go down in that Marauder. Zeus is still going. Fragan too, though, scooping up Perry and their Charger. But then we have Arch going down next. Plato's still alive in their Charger. We do have Scrappy Metal Can jump jetting around, trying to make moves. Civ, oh, self-destruction coming. Malkarov not wanting to be taken out. The last ride does get focused out, and now we have Humble Town in the Javelin 11F. Getting legged and getting finished. Nasty.
Very, very interesting engage there with 2D20 kind of coming in, ambushing Savvy there. Looked like Savvy was a little bit slow to realize they had been caught there. Cryo then going down quickly after, and the brawl resulting in an almost dead Plato, but otherwise fairly healthy 2D20. 2D20 decisively coming away from that ambush.
You know, I'm sad too. I wanted Plato to die as well. I'm just saying. But I will say that part of that survivability, like I think Zeus, who was it, Arch made a good call by trying to pushing in, trying to save a little more armor. But at the same time, Perry and Scrappy Metal in the Warhammer and Charger and Warhammer respectively, they did the exact same thing and pushed into the back line of Safi. And so with both teams having chaos being sown into their back line, I think that equaled it out. And yeah, the ambush initially, like that catapult was trying to get away from that fight instead of trying to fight it itself. And I think that was, that was honestly, they were just trying to get with their team, not get focused out completely. But yeah, Cairo doing 0 damage in that catapult. Oh, it's tough, but you know, someone's got to be a called target. And good on you, Cairo. You try to get away, so props to you. And Fragan too, Ryan 1V, all those MRMs, 450 damage. Woo! Love to see it. And Plato, 433 damage to that Charger, and that was the first one to get focused out. Wrist coming up 456 with their Charger. Good damage across the board and good fighting across the board.
Absolutely. That will be the conclusion here of Inner Sphere Champions 2D20 versus Savvy Week 2 for Division F. I believe I misspoke earlier when I said Div E. That was actually Div F for everyone. If that got pointed out to me here by Dan McMahon over in Twitch
Always
chat.
on it. What a legend.
Absolutely.
That was actually the person who helped remind me about my overlay still being there. So Dan the McMahon on 2 different streams, just being the trooper that we know.
Absolutely.
Let's love it. Hammerfell, thanks again. This was a blast to cast and stream with you. Hopefully we could do it again sometime. I'll definitely would love to cast for your team, Savi, and I hopefully you wouldn't mind helping my good old Nuisance Valley people whenever another cast comes up for them. But did you have a good time?
Absolutely. Thanks for casting with me. It was a pleasure to be with you here tonight. Thanks everyone again also for tuning in to the 2D20 versus Savvy Proud Dads co-cast of our 2 coaches here. watching our two teams go at it. And tune in next time for our upcoming casts here, which can be found on aceswild.com, where we have the stream schedule for every week up. And got a lot more casters going out this year, so stay tuned and tune into our 3 different MWO Leagues matches, or channels, to find more Mech Warrior.
Oh, it's going to be good times. Definitely stay tuned. All right, everybody. I'm going to be headed out for the night. So wherever you are, what's going on in the world, do my best to keep you entertained. So thanks for watching me, Hammerfell. Salute to you. Good luck on your next week's match. And everybody, take care. Bye-bye.
And that will be the conclusion of this broadcast on MWO Leagues 3.